What's this? What's this? These books are everywhere. This is a book haul. All right, so this is gonna be a mix of sci-fi and fantasy, of course, because that's what I do here. And this first one is Spine of the Dragon by Kevin J. Anderson. Now, I picked this up finally after, what should I do? Should I put them here? Yeah? I don't even know what this book is about yet. I picked this up finally after seeing it so many times in the bookstore, and I don't know, I had heard sort of like up and down things about it, and I finally was like, you know what, I don't know, I'm just gonna read it. I don't really see anybody talking about it, and it sounds interesting, and you know what, why not start another epic fantasy book, you know? Why not? I love these series, so let's just do it. You've got praise for it ahead of time from Sherilyn Kenyon. I think I have some of her books. His books? I think I have some books by that author. Robin Hobb, R.A. Salvatore, and Terry Goodkind, rest in peace, sir. Kevin J. Anderson's triumphant return to epic fantasy is a politically charged adventure of sword, sorcery, vengeance, and the rise of sleeping dangers. So, I've never read anything by Kevin J. Anderson, so his triumphant return to epic fantasy tells me that he once triumphed in the genre of epic fantasy. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read this or anything by Kevin J. Anderson, because I have not, so... Spine of the Dragon. I'm going in sort of blind. I don't know. Brilliant and fabulous. There you go. What else do you need? Next up is this awesome Barnes & Noble edition that has a sticker on it that I need to pull off of Stranger in a Strange Land. So Barnes & Noble does sort of like these versions of things. They did it for Dune. There's, is it not Left Hand of Darkness? It's Ursula K. Le Guin book. I forget which one. It might be Parable of Azor, but they have a bunch of these versions, of these editions where they have this introduction by Neil Gaiman. It's the same, I looked through the book, it's the same one in each of these. Okay, so here it is. It's The Once and Future King, Stranger to Strangeland, Dune, 2001: Space Odyssey, The Left Hand of Darkness, and Neuromancer. So Neil Gaiman put together this foreword, basically, for each of these series, and it's the same intro in each of these books. I checked because I looked at the Dune one, and I was saying, okay, it's $30 for the hardcover. Is there anything else? Are there illustrations? No, the foreword's the same, so you get the same in each of these. But Stranger in a Strange Land, you know, classic sci-fi tale, lots of praise for it. Robert Heinlein won at least one Hugo Awards, if not, okay, no. So right there, 4-time Hugo Award-winning author. So, I mean, I don't really know what to expect other than it's some classic sci-fi. This came out when did this come out? So all I really know about this is Heinlein was one of those first sci-fi authors to really reach that sort of, I guess copyright is 1961, so I assume that's for the original publication of Stranger in a Strange Land, to really, you know, be recognized for sci-fi and sort of regarded, you know, in the literary world. So his books were among the first works of science fiction to reach bestseller status in both hardcover and paperback. So there you go. Let's pay our respects to some of the sci-fi classics. We'll do this. Let's push y'all back. We'll sort that out later. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna have to redo all my shelves in a minute anyway. All right. So, since I said that I started buying books after Assassin's Quest, I immediately bought the Live Ship Trilogy by Robin Hobb. So I wanted to continue with her books, of course, and I made the joke that she started with Assassin's Apprentice that was like 400 pages, Royal Assassin was like 700 pages, and then Assassin's Quest was like 900 pages. And then she said, you know what, I'm just gonna make a trilogy with 3 books the length of Assassin's Quest. Jesus. I've heard almost entirely fantastic things about Ship of Magic and the Live Ship Trader trilogy. That it's excellent, that it's better than the Farseer trilogy. We'll see. I'll see how the characters hold up. I've heard some negatives about, you know, pacing issues, things like that, certain characters being annoying. Specifically Nick in my Discord, who hates Ship of Magic and basically doesn't think it should exist. But we'll see. I have high hopes for it. I love Robin Hobb's writing. I think she knocks it out of the park with character and, you know, setting the tone for her story. And there's some things that I hear about this with, like, sentient ships. Is that what happens in this series? So cool, that would be interesting. So those I ordered from Book Depository, Spine of the Dragon and Stranger in a Strange Land, I got at Barnes & Noble. I actually went to a used bookstore as well, and I spent like, I don't know, 20 bucks and got a bunch of books. So I found a somewhat beaten up front cover of the 12 Kings of Serakai, but it was like $3. And it's other than the cover being a little bit beaten up, it's a perfectly conditioned paperback. So I will happily not spend $18 on a trade paperback and spend $3 like I did. And it's like that nice big floppy paperback. So I don't actually know a whole lot about this author or this series, but I know Monica in my Discord was reading it or had just read it and was speaking pretty highly of it. I know Brian Lee Durfee just reviewed it and sung its praises. So I mean, it sounded pretty cool, and it's a totally different setting. I guess it's like almost like an Egyptian or sort of Middle Eastern setting, so that would be totally different than what I'm used to. I mean, so you've got, the great city in the desert, center of commerce and culture. It's been ruled from time immemorial by 12 kings, cruel, ruthless, powerful, and immortal. So I mean, you've got, tyrannical rule of these immortal beings, I guess, and I'm assuming that's Seda, our main character. So, right, is that how you say it? Seda? Probably? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect, and I'm not quite sure when I'm going to start this, but I've had my eye on this one for a while, and that cheap, can't pass it up. I promise I will stop saying that I don't know anything about these books at some point, but I like to buy books that I don't know much about. So The Black Tongue Thief. I know this came out somewhat recently. I love the cover art, this just use of like grays, blacks, whites, and then the yellow popping. I love that. I believe Patrick already reviewed this, and I'm sure a lot of people have read this obviously already, but lots of praise for this. It's a nice sort of shorter, I say short, 400-page fantasy novel is short to me, okay? I'm used to reading tomes, so again, this is another one that I don't really know exactly what to expect. All right, so then of course, this used bookstore that I go to normally only has mass market paperbacks. It's like 99% of what the store has, and I just don't like mass markets, so I tend not to buy them. And I did want to expand on my Crichton collection, as I have still only read Andromeda Strain, but I plan on reading more by Crichton. But I found these perfectly conditioned and like $2 a piece hardcovers of Timeline, which I've always just loved the cover of this. That helmet is sweet. And Prey, which I don't actually know too much about Prey, but there were several of these hardcovers by Crichton, and I already own, Jurassic Park, Andromeda Strain, Sphere, a bunch of others. So I'm looking forward to it. And look, Prey has a bookmark. But I'm definitely eager to read more Crichton and see just sort of like his variety of science fiction, because sci-fi is such a broad genre. There's so many different ways you can take it. I mean, even just from Andromeda Strain to Jurassic Park to Timeline, dealing with, I believe it's time travel, which is probably why it's called Timeline. Prey I don't really know about, but just everything that I've heard and read about Crichton himself is just how intelligent he was. So I want to see how he approaches various types of sci-fi, and if he sort of like approaches it the same way they did Andromeda Strain, where he really breaks down a lot of the science and gets really technical about it. So we'll see, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading more from him. Stepping into the real weird of sci-fi, and I was mainly interested in these because of everybody in Discord that has been reading them or read them recently, talking their praises, and reading through Sun Eater by Christopher Rocchio really gave me an itch to read Gene Wolfe and Shadow and Claw, which is the Tor Essentials version of it. They like slightly changed the spine of it and the front of it. So this is the bind up of Shadow and Claw. Sorry. This is the first half of the Book in the New Sun. And then you've got the second half, which is Sword and Citadel, which I always see these editions around. And to complete the trifecta of non-matching books, Earth of the New Sun. So here are the first 5 books by Gene Wolfe. And I thought it was fitting, as wacky as Book of the New Sun is supposed to be, that none of these match. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I've already told everybody that if this is something that I end up loving, which who knows at this point, because it sounds real weird, but as much as I love the weirdness and the sci-fi mystery that was going on in Sun Eater, it seems like he pulls a lot from Book of the New Sun. I'm really interested, and if I love it, I'm going to shell out for the Folio Society, because that looks sweet. I don't want to spend like $200 on the Folio Society hardbacks when I don't even know if I'm going to like it. So I'm going to wait. Next up, I think I have a lot of sci-fi here. This thing looks huge. There's no way that's a sci-fi book. Right? Yeah, that's not okay. We'll talk about that. It's It's been, these books have been sitting up here for weeks. I forgot what I bought. Velocity Weapon by Megan F. O'Keefe? E. O'Keefe. By Megan E. O'Keefe. So again, all I really know about this is that it's going to be another space opera. I love space operas. It seems to be my jam when I go to sci-fi. I read a lot of space operas. Red Rising, freaking Revelation Space, The Expanse, Sun Eater. I'm reading a lot of sci-fi space operas. I want to read Tchaikovsky with Children of Time, right? Yeah. I'll get to those eventually. But again, this is nice because it's about, 500 pages. That is certainly manageable to me because I can read that in well under a week. And I don't know, this is The Protectorate, Book 1. Again, it's a space opera. We'll see how it goes. This is definitely a newer one, though. This was published in 2019, so we'll see what kind of influences we have in that. Next up, I picked up Architect of Memory by Karen Osborne. So this is, the vibe that I got from this is more of a thriller, sci-fi thriller, which I enjoy as well. Dark Matter was great when I read it. I liked Andromeda Strain, I guess, is a thriller. It's not as fast-paced as Dark Matter for sure. It gets a lot more technical and science-y, but we'll see what to expect here because this says it's a lightning-fast science fiction debut of corporate greed. So it's a far future corporate dystopian vision of our world. Mention Firefly on the back. Come on, it's got to be good, right? And also this cover is just great, isn't it? I think so. I love that art. Next up, and I have to assume this is going to be similar to a John Gwynne novel. I don't know if this is supposed to be more historic fantasy or like, not literary fantasy, but I don't know. We'll see. Northern Wrath, part 1 of the Hanged God trilogy. And I apologize for butchering this name. Is it Thilda Coldholt? Is that right? I hope so. But I mean, this is going to be another Norse-inspired sort of fantasy. I don't know anything about this book whatsoever. That there's a theme here, isn't there? I haven't read in a long time, guys. This last year on YouTube has been like my diving back into the deep end of reading. So there's a lot of shit that I don't know about. But I mean, honestly, just like the reason I'm saying this is going to be another Gwynne novel is because just like, all right, Time of Courage. Oh, that worked out perfectly, didn't it? I mean, come on. Next up, and I bought this simply because of the cover. So yes, I was judging it by its cover. Sue me. So we'll see if I enjoy it. I have no idea what this book is. The Atlas 6 by Olivier. Is it Olivier Blake? Olivier? How do you say that? I don't know. This book looks great though. I love the simplicity. I love the what looks like swords, but like moons. I don't know. It looks dope. Is this like a school setting type thing? Hey, the Library of Alexandria. Oh, no, that's Alexandria. Sorry. It's on the first page though. All right, next up, I picked up The Coward by Stephen Aaron. So I believe, or Arian, I'm sorry. I totally mispronounced your name, I'm sure. I know I follow you on Twitter, and now I got your book. This is his first novel, and I assume is going to be a series. I don't know if it's a trilogy, if it's 10 books, 12 books, who knows? Maybe he's going full Wheel of Time. This is Quest for Heroes, number 1. I want to say Jimmy covered this recently. I love the artwork, by the way. The purple and gold. I love these different colors that I'm seeing. And like the sword in the sky overlooking like a nice outline of a guy with what looks like a katana almost. Another epic fantasy. Looks great. Sounds great. I'm just going to read everything. All the things. As Durfee says, buy all the books. And next up, so I have still yet to read any Brent Weeks. I have Lightbringer down there, Black Prism. I haven't started it yet. But I also wanted to read Night Angel to see if it was any good. So Barnes & Noble actually had a bind-up of the full trilogy here. So obviously they were a little bit shorter books. I wasn't sure if they only had like mass markets for this previous trilogy, but the bind-up is like 1,200 pages. So you've got 400-ish page books. I hear this is pretty great. I think this is like Assassins, right? Yeah, there you go. Assassination is an art. Boom, Assassins. I'm gonna read that at some point and see how that goes, and then eventually get into Lightbringer, which I've owned Black Prism for over a year and haven't gotten to yet. I hear I hear that series starts out very strongly, has a great magic system, and then falls on its face by the end of it, so we'll see when I get to it. And then of course, I bought these because they went on sale. It's normally a little bit more expensive than what I paid. But if you've been following my Goodreads or my channel, you know that I just read Salem's Lot. I finally stepped into Stephen King books because this is what I really want to get to, The Dark Tower. So I don't know when I'm going to start. I still don't know what kind of order I'm going to read these in. Not these, obviously. I know that's an order. But everything that ties into it, I don't know if I'm going to read all the tie-in books. I know Salem's Lot comes in around book 4 or 5-ish to the story because of Father Callahan. I know he's mixed up in Dark Tower. I don't know. I might start, I think I'm either going to do the kind of reading order where you go like books 1, 2, 3, and then do the Stand and the Talisman, and then books like 4, 5, 6, like that one. I don't think I'm going to read it ahead of time. I've heard that the tie-in is not that big. I know like the Stand and the Talisman apparently play a pretty big role in it. So I'm definitely not going to do one of those like completionist ones where you read like 37 King novels just to get through the Dark Tower. Hell, I might just read all the way through them, but I've already read Salem's Lot. I think before I start this, I might try to do the Stand and either do that ahead of time, like that, Eyes of the Dragon, Talisman. Likely, I'll sprinkle in some King novels before then and then start this early next year. We'll see. Once I wrap up Wheel of Time in Dresden, I'm going to want another big, long series to read, so Dark Tower is coming up soon. I'm going to read some Stephen King. Cool. All right, so that wraps it up, guys. That's everything that I've bought recently. I think that's all of it. Yes. And then, of course, I buy stuff on my Kindle literally all the time. If I get an Amazon email that has a book for sale that I think is interesting, I buy it. So I never cover those because I forget, honestly, how many of them I buy. It's like $2-3, and I just, click. So I've got a few dozen on my Kindle that I probably bought, and yeah, we'll get to it. I've got a lot of reading to do. Here we go. So that's going to wrap up the book haul, guys. I probably won't buy anything for a while because that was a lot of books and a lot to get to. So stay tuned. Lots of stuff to go. So until next time.